Coming up, a look at a fair trying to make everyone included in sports.
If you're flying out of Knoxville, travel home for the summer might look a little bit different this year.
Student government shifts their focus from accessibility to opportunity. The renovation of the future program. We tell you what this room is and why this is important later.
Continuing
I can be happy without the drugs.
Continuing our coverage on those overcoming opioid misuse. Late yesterday, President Donald Trump signed an executive order ending federal funding for NPR and PBS stations across the country, arguing that taxpayer money should not fund public broadcasting.
That's right. We hear from two students who interned at WUOT and their thoughts on the change.
See, there's a lot of young people in the office, and there's a lot of young people that listen to the station. And especially with Hurricane Helene, like WUOT was one of the first media entities that was covering it.
And NPR provides the UT community with news and still showcases classical music and musical groups here on campus.
They really help cultivate our arts community, and if their funding gets cut and their people get cut, it will be a lot harder to give that community a backing and a support system.
WUOT received $177,000 in funding, which is 9% of their annual budget. The university is working to figure out just what this means for WUOT.
WUOT is still committed to serving East Tennessee, and the university says that mission will continue. More breaking news, an update to a story we broke during our newscast last week regarding status changes to 9 international UT students. Welcome to TVC News. I'm Kyla Berry.
And I'm Grayson Thatcher. On April 28th, it was confirmed that 9 UT students had their immigration statuses terminated by the Trump administration and now have been restored in the SEVIS database. SEVIS, which stands for Student Exchange Visitor Information System, is the database used for processing documents for international students in the U.S.
The Center for Global Engagement is monitoring SEVIS and confirmed the restored status to all 9 previously affected. We will continue to monitor this situation on our Instagram at TVC News Now.
On Wednesday, April 23rd, our UT community tragically lost the life of Jonathan Dawson.
He would want us to celebrate his life, think about the great times and impact that he left on each and all of us.
His friends better knew him as Johnny. Johnny was a beloved member of our Greek life community as a brother of Beta Theta Pi. They held a memorial service in honor of his life on April 28th, allowing friends, family, or community members to remember his life and the legacy that he leaves behind.
Speeches shared throughout the memorial described Johnny as a light, someone who could always bring a smile to your face and always made you feel seen, valued, and loved. There's a GoFundMe to help his family at this time. You can find it at beta_UTK on Instagram.
We remember and honor the life of Johnny Dawson and the legacy he left among his friends, family, and brothers. Now that the year is officially winding down, students flying home for the summer may want to be extra prepared for their travels.
According to the U.S. Department of Transportation, Knoxville's McGee-Tyson Airport had a record-breaking year in its 87-year history, making it the fastest-growing airport in passenger increase percentage in 2024.
Our Alexa Durbin joins us now in the studio to explain more. Alexa, how might this affect students traveling home for the summer?
Yeah, Kyla, McGee-Tyson set a passenger record last year by hosting over 3.2 million travelers. This increase in popularity for the airport could mean longer lines and longer waits for students who are used to flying out fast after finals. Once finals are finished, it's time for students to zip up and fly home.
Being from Orlando, I use TYS every time I fly home because they have those direct flights, and I've been using it for almost 3 years now, ever since I decided to go to Tennessee.
Like UT junior Gracie Aldridge, many students travel to and from McGee-Tyson Airport, TYS for short, during each break in the school year.
Over Easter, I realized that I really need to get to the airport a lot earlier because people are using this airport a lot more than they were in the past, and I want to make sure I don't miss my flight.
Drop-off and pickup of passengers.
Only 11 miles from campus, it's always made for a fast way to get home, but now it's a little busier.
Knoxville and the Smoky Mountains have become a destination, and people are wanting to fly in here.
Out of the top 100 major U.S. airports, TYS is the fastest growing airport by its passenger percentage increase of over 18% in 2024.
The checkpoint is now opening 30 minutes earlier. We're trying to accommodate the influx of people who are coming into the building, especially on Mondays, Fridays, and Sundays.
And with this influx of travelers comes an all-new influx of change at the airport.
This year, we kicked off a 10-year program here at the airport, which includes a new parking garage that's already under construction, expanding our gate offerings, reevaluating concessions, just really trying to accommodate the travelers who have decided to come through our airport.
While we know it will take some time for these changes to make their effect here at the airport, it will be a bit busier. So make sure you're doing your part by arriving early, being ready, and checking your times on the departure board.
We have had lines that sometimes can go out to the front of the building, so we want to make sure that you arrive at the airport at least 2 hours before your scheduled departure time.
Saving your wait time and saving your stress.
I don't normally stress about getting to the airport very early because in the past there hasn't been long lines, but now that TYS is getting so popular, I definitely need to show up a lot earlier.
While you're no longer worried about finals, try not to worry about missing your flight home. In Knoxville, Alexa Durbin, TVC News.
Becky also told me we can expect to see some of those renovations for expansion by the time Thanksgiving break rolls around this year. If you're planning to fly home after May 7th, make sure you have a real ID or a passport, not a paper ID. If not, you can expect your wait time at the airport to dramatically increase while they do a background check to allow you to fly, as TYS is also asking people who do not have a real ID to show up 3 hours before your flight departure. You can also find a list of other acceptable identifications on tsa.gov to make sure your departure process goes smoothly.
Thanks, Alexa. Fans rushed to Neyland Thompson Sports Center to grab some of their favorite game day ready gear.
The athletic department hosted their annual warehouse sale where fans could pick up a slew of gear for a fraction of the price. Our Toby Fagan has more.
Just beyond these doors at the Anderson Training Facility, fans got a unique chance to dress like their favorite players. The athletic department hosted its annual warehouse sale where fans could grab all kinds of gear, ranging from t-shirts to helmets. They could suit up now like their favorite player for a fraction of the price.
Well, I'm just trying to find a nice jersey. One of my friends actually plays for the team, so I'm hoping to see if I can find one of his numbers.
Yeah, I'm looking around and browsing to see if I can find anything for some nice deals.
So I actually got, I saw on Facebook they were selling helmets, and I've been a UT football fan since I was young, so I just always thought about owning a helmet one day.
I got a lot of cool, like a Nike tag from one of the bowl games that we were in. That was really cool to get.
I walked away with 2 pairs of really comfortable sweatpants. I would have walked away with a lot more, but a lot of people.
Most fans weren't there for just themselves.
We're sorting out what we got and by size because we're buying for other people too, like my sister-in-law and my brother.
Family.
Yeah.
Get us something while you're there, so we're buying for lots of people.
My dad saw it on Twitter and he sent it to me and he told me to come get some stuff for the family, so that's what I did.
I got a pair of shoes, a hat, and then my family got just some everyday clothing too.
From Knoxville, Toby Fagan, Vol News.
Now joining us in the studio is Jackson Berg to tell us about some of our weather we've been seeing recently.
Yeah, that's right, Grayson. It's no secret that the Southeast is in the middle of storm season. This means Knoxville has been seeing an excess amount of rainfall this past week. And as shown here, there is some risk of severe weather coming this weekend. On another note, I was recently able to learn how one East Tennessee community bands together through severe weather and learn the best ways to stay safe during this severe storm season. Welcome to Sunbright, Tennessee.
This rural community with a population just over 500 has seen a recent increase in severe weather and the damage it has been causing.
We've had some terrible tornadoes at 23, 24, and now 25.
The community coming together.
Sometimes in a disaster, I think it brings people closer together.
To rebuild and repair damages caused by tornadoes the last 3 years. Melton saying how the community used to disregard severe weather, but now their mindset has shifted.
Everyone is more aware and how deadly they can be now.
I spoke with Chief Meteorologist at WVLT on how to stay prepared and informed when it comes to severe weather.
Stay informed to stay safe. That's the only thing we can do ahead of severe weather.
Forecasting for severe weather becoming more important than ever.
Where we would have potentially damaging winds flying through fields before, those are now neighborhoods.
Knoxville and surrounding areas like Sunbright feeling impacts from storms as far as Nashville.
But definitely more storms are developing just outside of our area and coming into East Tennessee with that damage potential.
Damage potential to homes, churches, vehicles, roads, forests, and more. The best thing you can do when it comes to severe weather, stay informed to stay safe. In East Tennessee, Jackson Berg, Vol News.
This is your reminder to always stay weather aware since these storms aren't always the most predictable. I'll have the full weekend weather forecast for you all later, but for now, back to the desk.
Thank you, Jackson.
Student government has been busy this past semester with the recent passing of a couple bills focusing on improving campus accessibility.
Our Aubrey Curran has been following this issue since the beginning of the semester, but now student government has decided to transition from accessibility to opportunity by focusing on a different program.
Yeah, Grayson, the future program is a place over 35 students call home, yet it doesn't quite feel like it. At least not yet. It's been around since 2011, and its program director, Emma Burgeon, says they didn't even get the chance to move into an actual room until 2020. Now that room is outdated and in need of a major renovation. Student government was able to step in because there was a certain special connection between the two. Here's the story.
February, March, April, now it's gone. So the art showcase is so looking good.
Funding in a time of need.
Modify the college experience for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities so that they can access the classroom and feel supported while earning a vocational certificate that then helps them, transition successfully into adulthood.
The future program moved into this space in 2020, right before the pandemic hit.
We are noticing that there are improvements that can be made to better support the students who are accessing this and using it as their community space at UT.
Since then, the program has developed further with each passing year, but the room it sits in has not.
The carpet is really outdated. When we moved in, there were some outlets that were active.
And shockingly, one of the biggest issues also seems to be the simplest.
The lack of chairs sometimes is a problem.
There's just not enough chairs.
Yeah, I just end up coming right over here and sitting next to the desk and sitting on my knees for an hour doing the shift, which I'm fine with, but I don't want the students to have to do.
So where does student government fit into all this?
As time has gone on, I've noticed a lot of issues.
One of the future program's students also happens to be a student government senator.
Now I'm like, what can I do to help my program?
One who, with the help of fellow Senator Emily Dietrich, has sponsored and passed a bill calling for renovation.
So phase 1 is gonna be paint, carpet, and electrical. Phase 2 and 3 are just furniture.
Because in a way, this program is like a second home for these students.
For a normal person, it's a great opportunity, but for a ability person like myself, it's actually really great to be in college,
So why not make it feel more like one?
I see a picture of our school
In Knoxville, I'm Aubrey Curran, Vol News.
Blake tells me all 3 phases have been approved for this renovation, and the College of Education has committed to funding the first crucial phase of maintenance-type repairs. As for the last 2, he tells me President Randy Boyd himself is currently searching for more donors. When that is all said and done, Future Program is hoping to start renovating as soon as this summer. Talk about a big influence. We, of course, hope to see this through. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Aubrey. Now, as you start studying for finals, you might find yourself at the library for a long time, sitting hunched over a computer.
If you're looking to study while staying active, you can visit the Hodges Active Learning Workspace. Hodges Library offers a dedicated space with bikes, treadmills, and standing desks for students who prefer to stay active while studying.
When I'm studying, I want to be up, moving around instead of sitting down, and if I can kind of walk on a treadmill or use the bike or something, it keeps my body occupied while I'm working.
This space can assist with staying focused and also staying active. You can use this space located on the 2nd floor Commons area in Hodges Library.
The Adaptive Sports Fair is an annual event that is hosted at Trax, or T-Rex, I got to go,
it's okay. I got to go to this event yesterday to see why adaptive sports are so important. Now I'll tell the story of two seniors who are ending their semester on a good shot.
Us?
First quarter, let's meet our team, Sydney Ayler and Owen Grosroad. Well, they're teammates for the first time today.
I was introduced to wheelchair basketball just last semester, and for me, that was a game changer.
Second quarter. Grosroad plays wheelchair basketball with a local group.
And he put me in touch with this city wheelchair basketball group, and it's made all the difference my senior year.
At the age of 5, he turned to sports when one of his teachers mentioned a wrestler.
Missing both arms and both legs, and she said, "Yeah, so you could wrestle." And that was the first time I can remember anyone telling me to get involved in sports.
While Sydney just started playing a year ago.
I've always played able-bodied sports, just like normal. I had no clue that there was other options.
Third quarter. Now the man behind the game. Meet Dr. Jason Scott, an associate professor at UT teaching medicine.
Adaptive sports is all about promoting inclusion and access. So it's all about students with and without disabilities all coming together.
Fourth quarter. The game is not over if you don't learn something.
People from different backgrounds, if they come together, they can learn.
Balls Adapt shows community members that everyone can play adaptive sports and shoot their shot.
Win or lose, this team is ending their semester on a good shot. At the T-Rec, Kyla Berry, Vol News.
Now, wheelchair basketball is not the only sport played. Vols Adapt had goalball sitting, volleyball, blind soccer, and wheelchair tennis.
Now, Grayson, I do want to mention it took me more than one try to make my layup at that event, but what a great opportunity for everyone to get involved in adaptive sports.
I was a little curious about that. I had to ask.
I'm not perfect.
Some other exciting news. Our own Griffin Hadley was honored at the Chancellor's Honors Dinner this week for receiving the Torchbearer Award. Griffin and his fellow Torchbearer recipients were showered with applause as Chancellor Plowman recognized their achievements and success.
And WOT's very own Pierce Gentry had the opportunity to attend the White House Correspondents' Dinner this week. Attending on behalf of the University of Tennessee, Pierce said he had a great time meeting White House correspondents, association members, and fellow scholars at what is affectionately known as Nerd Prom. Such great work coming from our volunteers in student media. Last week, we began sharing stories of those in Scott County who faced addiction head-on.
Today, we continue that journey as our Caleb Colvin brings us another personal story from people who've lived through the opioid crisis. Caleb?
For my master's project, I spent time in Scott County speaking with people who've experienced addiction. Anthony Russell, a current resident of Scott County, battled drug addiction for 25 years before making the choice to turn his life around. Here's his story.
Anthony Russell started using drugs 25 years ago. Like many others, his drug use began out of curiosity.
Nothing really dramatic ever happened to me as far as turning to drugs. It's mostly just curiosity, wanting to fit in.
10 years into Mr. Russell's addiction is when he would first start using opioids. Years later, he would transition from opioids to methamphetamine, and that is when things would take a turn for the worse.
I mean, I could go a month or two without the using and no problem, but then more and more I started doing it, the more it turned into pretty much an everyday habit, and then over time it became hourly, just about.
As Mr. Russell fell deeper into addiction, he would end up feeling ashamed, leading him to isolate himself away from his family.
I come from a real close family. We always did family outings together. But the deeper into my addiction I got, the more I secluded myself away from my kids, my wife, my parents, all my family. Just secluded myself and didn't want to be around nobody because I was ashamed. Didn't want nobody to know what I was doing.
On April 22nd of 2018, Mr. Russell made the decision to go to rehab after hearing God's voice. He would spend 9 months at Roloff Homes, a faith-based addiction recovery ministry in Corpus Christi, Texas. Even though everything has changed for the better since then, he still faces his challenges.
I still have hard times, had bad days, but life is so much more grand, all because I chose to follow Christ.
Mr. Russell is now 7 years sober. His experience with addiction and recovery has led him to have an appreciative perspective on life.
I can live. I can be happy without the drugs. I have my kids. I have my family. I have trust. People trust me. That's something I didn't have before.
In Knoxville, Caleb Colvin, TVC News.
Anthony learned how to look at life differently and continues to take steps to deepen his faith and relationship with his family. That's all I have for you today. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Caleb.
Coming up, we dive into sports on Rocky Top for one last time and take a look at some of the people behind the magic.
We are one of, if not the best, communications and creative departments in all of athletics.
Take a peek behind the curtain to see how some of the biggest moments come to life.
And Vol baseball taking on Auburn tonight after their midweek win against Northern Kentucky.
He definitely wasn't $4 million worth. I don't know if he was even $2.5 million worth.
Here's students' thoughts on the departure of quarterback Nico Iamaleava.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping. Maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver. And we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
We are the Tennessee Volunteers. People who create connections, push boundaries, do the research that changes lives. We've got world-class academics and championship athletics. To be the best, you gotta learn from the best. And if you wanna lead, you gotta light the way. We've got what it takes. It takes a volunteer.
Welcome back to TVC News.
We all know the power and influence of Tennessee sports, but last week we were reminded that the influence of the Knoxville community runs stronger.
Our Aubrey Curran introduced us to the One Knox soccer team who offered a trade with ex-football player Nico Iamaleava jersey for one of their own.
That name is pretty difficult.
It is. It's a tongue twister, I tell you what, Grayson.
But anyway, 25 shirts were traded in that day, and the day after this story aired, One Knox's home opener held the highest attended match ever hosted by the club with a total of 6,378 people. One of the students who attended tells us what she saw in the crowd.
I saw like every type of gear, Tennessee gear, I saw Nashville SC gear, I saw Smokies gear because the Smokies and One Knox play in the same stadium. And then I also saw obviously One Knox gear as well.
Pretty much every type of Tennessee fan was in attendance of this event, and if you want to join them at the next home game, you can catch one on Knox we can catch one Knox on May 9th at Covenant Health Park.
The school year might be ending, but there is still plenty of sports action on Rocky Top. It's time for our Rocky Top Sports Report.
Luke and Sophie join us in the studio. What do you guys have for us today?
Thanks, Kyla. That's exactly right. I must say, it's time for the last Rocky Top Sports Report for this semester. I'm Luke Lamery.
And I'm Sophie Starkey. Let's get into it. First, a couple of schedule changes that impact today's games. Baseball moving up to 5:30 p.m. first pitch, and softball now moving to a doubleheader today at 2 and 5. All of this because of weather.
The longest tenured head coach in Tennessee athletics history is cashing in his chips. Tennessee diving head coach Dave Parrington is retiring, and this month marks the end of his legendary 35-year career. He talked extensively with me this week about his life and his over 3 decades of coaching.
While some of the greatest coaches in all of sports have walked the hollowed hills of Tennessee, one stands alone. The longest tenured head coach in Tennessee history. You may be thinking Pat Summitt, or General Robert Neyland, or maybe even Johnny Majors. Think again. It's actually Tennessee head diving coach Dave Parrington, who spent 35 years here on Rocky Top and this month is heading into retirement.
Feels pretty cool, actually. And I knew I was right up there, and to be honest, I didn't actually know I was the longest until it was brought out.
However, it wasn't easy. Parrington had a long road to get to Tennessee. He was born in Britain. Then as a child, his family moved to Rhodesia, a former governed state in South Africa.
Every bit of my time growing up, especially as a little boy, was I was either at school or I was at the pool and messing around in the water, swimming, learning how to play water polo, and then bouncing the diving boards and learning how to dive with some of our older divers.
When Rhodesia declared independence, the state turned to modern-day Zimbabwe. Parrington elected to represent them in the infamous 1980 Moscow Olympics. That year, of course, the United States boycotted the Games amid Cold War tensions. Parrington said it was unique, but still a great experience.
Pretty amazing. I mean, just the Olympic experience to start with, but yes, it was an extremely unique Olympic Games because of the U.S. and some other countries, Western countries' boycotts.
Parrington dove at the University of Houston, and by the time he was done with his collegiate career, he was already lined up with a coaching position with the Cougars. Soon enough, after 7 years with Houston, the University of Tennessee came knocking.
Had what was a good interview and went back a few days later. They, John Cronin and Doug Dickey were the ADs at the time, both separate departments in those days, and offered me the job. And for me, it was I accepted right there on the phone.
It's safe to say Parrington found success at Tennessee, racking up 9 NCAA titles, 47 SEC titles, and his divers have won 19 SEC Diver of the Year awards. Parrington has been there every step of the way, with one motto that has rung in the ears of hundreds of alumni over his 3 decades. Winning is living.
And so it's always the last thing we say after winning a meet. Then once the programs combined, we integrated that into the women's program as well. So, but it encapsulates the competitive drive that we have as a program, and that we like to win.
And win they have. But Parrington says the most rewarding part of his job is working with students in the highs and the lows of the sport.
Then just working with the young divers, male and female alike, every day, seeing their faces of joy when they learn something new or develop a new skill or have the success, but also helping them in those low moments. And it's not all hunky dory. It's there's a lot that goes into it.
As Parrington heads into retirement, he says he looks forward to traveling with his wife Marie. But this goodbye turns into just a see you later, as Parrington says he might make a few guest coaching appearances in the coming months and years. As he says himself, winning is living, and you can't live life without seeing a win. In Knoxville, I'm Luke Lamery, Vol News.
Well, it's hard to encapsulate 35 years into a couple minutes, but I must say a truly remarkable career for Dave Parrington, and congratulations to him on his retirement. Now, in other news, on the softball diamond, the Lady Vols took some much-needed rest this week after securing their 6th SEC Series victory over Ole Miss.
Yeah, Luke, and they absolutely deserved it after all of these away series. They're finally going to get to play at home. The Lady Vols have now won 22 of their 24 last conference series matchups as they sit number 10 in the country. They look to wrap up their regular season this weekend with a series against Texas A&M.
Tennessee will honor 5 seniors before Game 3 on Saturday. Bit of a schedule change. The Lady Vols will have a doubleheader tonight at 2 and 5 p.m. Keep an eye out for any weather changes.
Vol baseball entered a 2-week homestand Tuesday with a 7-5 win over Northern Kentucky. Southpaw Michael Sharman stepped up for the Volunteers. In just 4 innings, he gave up just 1 run and 3 hits. Sharman's performance was good enough for a career high of 6 strikeouts for his 3rd win of the year.
Yep, some fresh blood had some success for the Vols as well, with first-year catcher Stone Lawless having a blast at the plate, hitting 2 solo home runs. The Vols' second-to-last regular season starts today at 5:30 p.m. against Auburn in Lindsey Nelson Stadium.
Way back when, in 2022, a high school teacher with a dream took his first steps. Now he is best known as the Spanish voice of the Vols.
Our Luca Tao sat down with Carlos Lopez to hear more about his story.
Mi papel en la universidad es la persona que comenzó por primera vez en la historia. Ya llevamos jugando fútbol americano desde el 1891 y por la primera vez en la historia, en el 2024, tuvimos la oportunidad de transmitir y narrar todos los juegos de fútbol americano en español. Ahora en el 2024-2025 tenemos ya más de 500,000 personas que hablan español. Y en mi mente yo dije, tengo que hacer algo porque en este mundo están tratando de dividirnos. Yo tengo que hacer algo para unirnos. Y de ahí creció Vamos Vols. Being inside Neyland Stadium, calling that UTSA game for the first time in history for the University of Tennessee, I had one person before it all started said, Carlos, your videos are cool and they've gone viral, but we live in Tennessee and nobody's going to listen to your Spanish broadcast, which I get it. We live in the South. But seeing myself inside Neyland Stadium and seeing how the fans were coming in and filling up the stadium, and Fuad Rivez and I, another VFL legend in this university, him and I, they take a picture from behind us, and it's Neyland Stadium right there, and we're looking at this, and I look at Fuad, and Fuad said, Carlos, this is reminding me of when we lived in Miami, and my dad and I would listen to the Miami Dolphins games in Spanish. Not only is Fuad Rivez the color commentator for the historic Spanish broadcast, but we are also touching his heart. He is a part of it, and at the same time, his heart is being touched by something so special that we get to do. The messages that I receive from alumni. Never in a million years did we ever imagine that we were going to have Spanish broadcasts. We are touching people's heart, and we are reaching homes.
Well, what an amazing opportunity to sit down and get to know the voice behind Vamos Vols, and we hope to hear him again in the fall. Speaking of the old pigskin, a couple familiar names were called last week after James Pierce Jr. was taken in the first round of the 2025 NFL Draft. 3 other Vols were snatched off the board in rounds 2 through 7, Sophie.
That's right. In the 2nd and 3rd round, they took place on Friday. Tennessee star defensive lineman Omar Normanlot was selected with the 63rd pick by the Kansas City Chiefs.
On Saturday, the 4th round was a success for Tennessee, with the Las Vegas Raiders taking wide receiver Dante Thornton Jr. Now, Sophie, the surprise to many here was that Thornton Jr. went off the board before 2024 SEC Offensive Player of the Year, Dylan Sampson.
Absolutely big shock here. Sampson was projected to be drafted in the late 2nd to early 3rd rounds, but he was not chosen until the late 4th by the Cleveland Browns. The draft is full of surprises, as it always is, Luke, especially this year.
Yep, well, a total of 17 players have now been drafted in the Josh Heupel era, and we wish the former Vols the best of luck in the NFL.
Absolutely.
Tennessee's football staff was awarded Best Performing College Sports Communication Department, Sophie.
And behind the scenes, a dedicated team of sports information directors play a crucial role in ensuring that everything runs smoothly. One of those members is Josh Lively. I got to sit down with him to discuss how is he making waves in his career.
I'm the Assistant Strategic Communications Director for Tennessee Athletics. I work specifically with our volleyball and swimming and diving programs. I've been here in my current role for 4 years now. My daily schedule looks a lot different depending on the time of year and just whether or not my sports are in season or not. Spring semester, it's pretty much all swimming and diving. And that's good because their peak season is February and March. And that's a lot different. I'm not doing as much on quick routines. It's a lot of looking up big historical projects, coming up with big picture strategies and items to head into those championship seasons where we know we're going to get peak attention.
Though Lively oversees many tasks, he says one of the best parts about his job is getting to know the players.
The ability to be able to build connections and relationships with these athletes and these coaches that are more than just athletes. They're all human beings. You get to know them for who they are. What are they watching on TV? What are their favorite shows, movies? What are they reading? What are they doing for fun when they're not playing their sport? I really enjoy that a lot. And so with my role, not everything is necessarily newsworthy, but sometimes you find these really cool tidbits that then you can create into a much bigger story.
Tennessee Swim broke numerous records this season, all found by Lively to ensure accuracy.
Integrity is everything for an SID, because if I'm giving national media, local media, TV broadcasters this information, it better be right when they put it out. If a person doesn't trust you, then getting interviews for your team and promoting them and branding them is going to become a lot tougher. And that's literally the name of the game at this point in college athletics.
A growing part of sports branding is social media, an area where Lively thrives.
Instead of just going into those championship meets and posting every single time someone wins a medal, it's having strategy behind it of knowing if we're going to get our brand to be able to expose it to more people, we need to post less. And with that, we posted way fewer than all the other big accounts, but we had the best engagement, we had the best audience growth, and we had the 2 highest performing posts of the whole meet.
In Knoxville, I'm Sophie Starkey, Vol News.
The work of the SIDs continues to improve as they preserve the legacy of athletic excellence at the University of Tennessee.
You're absolutely right, and their work in media clearly has an effect on the fans, and Tennessee has sold out its season tickets. 70,500 season tickets have been bought, selling out for the 3rd straight season and the 4th time in the past 24 years.
This included a 97.8% renewal rate by season ticket holders. Fans are excited to get back into Neyland with 23,755 fans showing interest in season tickets. A bit of drama you've probably heard about, the Nico situation. We've covered it on TVC just next and on our social media at TVC News Now as soon as it broke.
Well, after Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava transferred to UCLA 2 weeks ago, our Michael Marks spoke to Tennessee students and they weighed in on his plea for more money and his ultimate departure.
Here's what they had to say.
It's been nearly 3 weeks now since news broke of ongoing contract negotiations between the University of Tennessee and quarterback Nico Iamaleava. Since then, Iamaleava skipped the spring game, entered the transfer portal, and decided to go back home to UCLA. I'm on campus today to speak with students to get their thoughts and opinions on the departure of former QB1.
Yeah, Nico's situation has happened pretty fast for us here. We heard the rumors, we didn't really think anything of it, and then a day or 2 later he was gone. And it's real messed up as a student. We're out here paying for tuition and all of this and that. You have these guys getting full ride scholarships and then they're being greedy with all their money. Dude is getting paid, $2.5 million or so to play football here on top of his free, tuition. Especially with his performance. He's a 5-star, he kind of played like a 2-star, but look back, it's really the quarterback's fault that we couldn't make much happen on the offense. So
I think it's a good thing he's gone. I think the fact that he was asking for more money and then skipping out on practices and not being a part of the team was a little ridiculous.
He definitely wasn't $4 million worth. I don't know if he was even $2.5 million worth. couldn't throw a deep ball. I think we were almost doing him a favor keeping him here. I just don't think he was in the place to, make moves like that, and neither was his dad.
It obviously hurts a good amount. I had a lot of faith in him. But, if someone's going to be like that in our locker room, obviously he can go elsewhere. Who knows if it was him or his dad?
Personally, I don't want a quarterback who doesn't want to be here, who just wants money. I want a VFL as my quarterback.
I don't really care that he left. I think he was like glorified Will Levis. Definitely didn't deserve $4 million.
Definitely no love lost between Tennessee students and former Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava. But I'm sure the Vol fans will back whoever's under center for the Vols when they take on Syracuse on August 30th in Atlanta. Michael Marks, TVC News.
Thanks, Michael.
We can see students' displeasure about Nico, but maybe Aguilar will change their minds. Moving to the hardwood, Rick Barnes has been on a tear recruiting, picking up not just a top recruit, but also a squad to go with him. Tennessee landed 5-star small forward Nate Ament last week, a historical recruit, and they've now added transfer guard Amari Abram, as well as Clarence Masamba, a junior guard from Paris.
Wow, what a busy week, Sophie. When your school is one of the best athletic teams in the country, the headlines are chock full of information.
Absolutely. That's why I call us the Everything School, and that is why next Friday, May 9th, the Volunteer Channel is hosting a special called just that, the Everything School. Be sure to tune in to see highlights of Tennessee's athletic year, looks into athletes and their stories, and more fun with TVC.
Well, Sophie and I will be in there in some form or fashion, but for now, that's all we have. Back to you guys at the desk.
We're looking to hear from you guys during that Everything special for sure. Thank you guys.
Coming up, more stories about activities of students on campus.
I just found it kind of hard to not find the actual internships, but getting people to respond back.
We get a student's perspective and advice on internships as summer creeps closer.
Just beyond these doors, fans had a really unique experience to dress like one of their favorite players. Coming up, we take you inside a fan favorite event.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping, maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver. And we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
We are the Tennessee Volunteers. People who create connections, push boundaries, do the research that changes lives. We've got world-class academics and championship athletics. To be the best, you gotta learn from the best. And if you wanna lead, you gotta light the way. We've got what it takes. It takes a volunteer.
Welcome back, Vols. My name is Jackson Berg, and I'm bringing you this weekend's weather forecast. As we've heard, there are going to be some UT athletic events rescheduled due to the rain this weekend. But for today, we are expected to see some sun with highs in the lower 80s, only dropping to the lower 60s throughout the night. Days should remain pretty sunny, but we can expect some showers later this evening moving into Saturday.
we're going to see thunderstorms, definitely rainfall, chance of severe weather, highs falling to the lower 70s, lows will be around 52 degrees. Through the night, there's around a 50% chance of rain moving into Sunday, where we should see more sun throughout the day as precipitation is expected to end in the morning. Expect a high of around 70 and lows in the upper 40s. Be sure you find your raincoat. This weekend is going to be a wet one. However, that's all I have for you this week. I'll see you in the fall, ready to forecast your game day weekends.
Thanks, Jackson. I won't forget the rain boots either. 'Tis the season for internship hunting. Students at the University of Tennessee are currently searching for that special internship that could possibly land them a job after graduation.
That's right, and our own Caitlin Kirkpatrick is here to bring us the story.
I was a social media intern, so I mainly worked for the Manning cast every week.
Thanks, guys. I spoke with Addison Lafayette, a senior studying communication studies, about her internship, where she was the luck of the draw when she landed the internship with Peyton Manning at Omaha Productions.
I was a social media intern, so I mainly worked for the Manning cast every week.
Before she had the opportunity to work at Omaha Productions, she too struggled with finding an internship.
I just found it kind of hard to not find the actual internships, but getting people to respond back.
But because of her determination, the chance of a lifetime fell right into her lap when Peyton Manning came to visit.
When he came to speak to our class, he talked a lot about his production company and what they do and the different projects that they were working on. And I had written him a letter kind of interested in what they were doing and told him, you know, if you're ever hiring at Omaha, here's my number, and gave him my business card, not really thinking anything of it.
And then the unimaginable happened.
Exactly 2 hours after I gave him that letter, I had an email from the head of HR at Omaha asking to interview me.
Emerson Kidd Benthal, a classmate and friend of Addison, got to see firsthand how Addison has changed from this experience.
I think Addison is the type of person who really goes after what she wants. Like I said before, she's so driven. She is so perseverant. She knows what she wants out of life now, and I think that's really inspiring to see.
Addison even shared with us her tips and tricks for anyone looking for an internship.
I think networking is a huge thing, especially while you're in college. With my experience, I would say alumni from UT especially want to help you, and they want to see you succeed. So reach out to them, use those resources.
In the communications building with TVC News, I'm Caitlin Kirkpatrick. One of those main points she gave me is making those connections with not only the people around you, but your professors and classmates as well. We wish all the students the best of luck in finding internships. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Caitlin. It's no secret that UT achieves both academically and athletically, but what does this mean for an on-campus soar?
Our Bella Frick spoke with the one and only Vol Shop to get the story.
I feel like we're very prepared for once we graduate, even as sophomores.
It's pretty unanimous. It's great to be a Tennessee Vol. From our championship athletics to inside the classroom, UT seems to have it all. So how can you go about supporting your favorite school? By shopping through the on-campus Vol Shop, of course.
But the Tennessee fan base is just amazing.
Tommy Grubbs, the marketing manager of the Vol Shop, says regardless of what season Tennessee is in, they can tell just how good Tennessee is doing by the numbers.
We truly are an everything school, and that shows in our sales as well.
While Tennessee excels across the board athletically, the store has a little extra love for a certain team on campus.
We still have a soft spot in our hearts for the baseball championship from last year, where online within the first week we got 15,000 orders. When our teams are doing well, then we do well.
What makes the Vol Shop different from other retailers is how the profit impacts campus. All proceeds from the store go directly to student scholarship, building projects, and community outreach.
And we're really proud that all money spent here stays here on campus.
If you've been looking for a way to rep the everything school, take a stroll across campus to shop local, show your big orange pride, and help support your future volunteers all in one place. In Knoxville, I'm Bella Fricks, TVC News.
It's the end of the semester, and while some students are cramming for finals, others are getting camera ready.
A free headshot booth on campus is helping grads level up their job search one photo at a time. Students can come in anytime. The booth is open from 8 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. No need to register prior to coming. Just talk to the front desk and they will get you squared away.
With LinkedIn becoming such a popular platform, it's important for students to have a professional headshot, as that might be their first impression with networking and meeting new people and finding jobs through online platforms.
With this photo shoot, the photo booth, getting a professional headshot has never been easier. Students simply just step into the booth, strike a pose, and the machine does the rest, giving them a high-quality photo in seconds. Check out the headshot booth before leaving campus in the Career Development Office on the second floor of the Student Union.
I mean, I think that would help with getting the internship as well, too.
Oh, most certainly.
Yeah. And then also, last week, we had our live special to remember who Pope Francis was and the legacy that he left.
We're continuing coverage for what is in store for the Roman Catholic Church. Our Alexa Durbin tells us more about the voting process for a new pope.
Easter Monday, the world was thrown into mourning after Pope Francis passed away. On Saturday, the 26th, Pope Francis was laid to rest in St. Mary Major Basilica, a 1,600-year-old church and shrine to the Virgin Mary a few miles away from the Vatican. He is the first pontiff in more than a century to be buried outside of the Vatican, as he requested a simple tomb to reflect a legacy devoted to humility. Now we want to give you a look for what comes next for the Roman Catholic Church. On Monday, Catholic cardinals set May 7th as the start date for the conclave to elect the 267th Pope. They could have opened as early as May 5th, but the cardinals gave themselves extra time to discuss. It's important to note that only cardinals under the age of 80 are the only ones allowed to vote in the Sistine Chapel, which will be closed off once voting begins. Throughout the election process, the 135 electors are not allowed to send or receive messages or receive news of any form from outside of the chapel. After the votes are counted, all ballots are burned. If the ballot was inconclusive, a chimney positioned over the Sistine Chapel emits black smoke. If a vote wins 2/3 plus 1 majority, white smoke is put in the air to let the public know there is a new pope. We will continue to keep you updated on the voting process as results come in.
Now, the cardinals will take a single vote on May 7th. If they don't find the winner on the first ballot, they retire for the evening and return to the Sistine Chapel for 4 rounds of voting following each day.
That's right. And then final season is closing in, and some students at the University of Tennessee are facing some challenges. Our Allie Seaton tells us more.
I'm here at the University of Tennessee as final season is approaching and workloads are intensifying. Many students are struggling to cope with the stress of it all. But what exactly is burnout? Dr. Erin Whiteside, professor at the university, tells us more.
It manifests itself usually in attendance. Sometimes I just won't see a student for a couple weeks. I won't hear from them. Just a kind of a pull away from engagement a little bit.
Many students experience both mental and physical symptoms when experiencing burnout. According to Mason Spruill, recent Tennessee alumnus, he experienced his fair share of burnout during his time at the university.
My second semester of my freshman year, I decided it would be a good idea to take 19 credit hours. I experienced a lot of burnout, especially in classes that my advisor recommended I should go into.
Students nowadays are not alone when experiencing burnout.
When I was a master's student, I was working full time, but I have a sheet on my corkboard that detailed my day from like about 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. And I think a really good strategy is accepting that there's only so much time in the day and accepting that nothing will be perfect.
Professors and previous students alike have developed their own methods of dealing with the stress that stems from burnout.
Confide in friends and family. It always seems a lot harder when you go through it alone.
The university does have resources for those struggling from burnout. From students to professors, it is not uncommon to feel like you're falling behind. Reporting from the University of Tennessee, I'm Allie Seaton, TVC News.
If you find yourself struggling with burnout, among other things, contact the Student Counseling Center at 974-HELP or schedule an appointment online.
One youth pastor from East Tennessee has went around the world trying to preach the gospel. Our Nick McNeese got to speak with him this week.
Nick McNeese is here to tell us more about the work he's been doing. Nick?
Thanks, guys. I got to talk with Mark Robertson about his experience living in Central America for the past 3 years.
Mark and his wife Courtney left Newport, Tennessee in 2021 to embark on a multi-year journey to spread the gospel to those in need. Their transition from the Smoky Mountains to Central America is an inspiring one. Sometimes people find their purpose in life, and that leads them to switching jobs or universities. For Mark Robertson, it led to him switching continents.
And so it was quite a culture shock for us, of course, when you get there.
Mark and his wife Courtney said they felt like God was calling them to be full-time missionaries for years. They spent 3 years out of the country trying to minister and create connections.
The culture there is all about the relationship. It's not about the individual as much as it is the community.
This new chapter of life was an even bigger task since Mark and Courtney have multiple children that were moving with them.
When we arrived in Mexico, my wife was pregnant when we left the States, and our third child was born there, so he's actually a dual citizen.
The idea of having kids was once seen as nearly impossible for them.
We did some testing, and long story short, he came to us one day and he said, here's the deal, very unlikely you're gonna have kids of your own. You have like a 1 to 3% chance. It's just not gonna happen.
And now with 4 kids, they are still traveling the world. For Mark and his family, the question is not what kind of work they will be doing. The question is where they're going to do it at. Randy Rungens, Mark's close friend and pastor, says the way that they connect with people is what makes them great at this work.
They almost provide that older brother-sister type of relationship.
Randy says Mark and Courtney's ability to listen and connect is what sets them apart.
Mark's most greatest attribute is there's no environment where he's the judge. And so he respects every environment that he goes into.
Randy was sad to lose Mark and Courtney, but he said it's part of his responsibility as a pastor.
That our job in the church is to send our very best. And so when we ordained them for the mission field, one of the things I shared with the church is we are sending our best.
Mark and Courtney leave the U.S. again next month, and I am confident they will continue to make a great impact on the lives of everyone they meet. From Newport, Tennessee, Nick McNeese, Vol News. While it's been nice to have Mark and Courtney back in the area, it will be exciting to follow their journey when they fly back out next month.
Wow, Nick, what an inspiring story. Where can we follow along to get more updates?
Yeah, guys, you can follow their Commissional Cafe page on Facebook, where they post regular updates on all of their work.
Thank you, Nick. Stick around for some graduation information and some special recognitions to close out the last show of the year.
You won't want to miss this. Stay with us.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce, we all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/teamup.
Be right there. Wait. Use the shovel and bucket of water, remember? Drown, stir, drown, feel. Then make sure it's cool.
Where'd you learn that?
SmokeyBear.com. Brushed up on some tips before we left. Don't want to start a wildfire, right?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
We are the Tennessee Volunteers. People who create connections, push boundaries, do the research that changes lives. We've got world-class academics and championship athletics. To be the best, you gotta learn from the best. And if you wanna lead, you gotta light the way. We've got what it takes. It takes a volunteer.
Welcome to TVC News. Graduation commencement weekend is fast approaching. UT will have 8 commencement ceremonies for the class of 2025.
Graduates and visitors coming to commencement should plan to park in the G10 and G15 garages and avoid eastbound Neyland Drive in their commute. Be sure that graduates and guests arrive early to find parking and seats. As we close out our last show of the semester, we want to remember some of the most exciting moments of the year at TVC.
Our Maggie Squirking joins us now in the studio to tell us more. Maggie?
Thanks, Kyla. This school year has definitely been a year to remember. Our coverage has included Hurricane Helene coverage to the presidential election and national sports coverage, just to name a few. TVC has literally reported on it all. Before students head into the summer, here are some of TVC's best highlights.
The Vols just took down the Tide. Phantoms stormed the field, ripped both goalposts down.
However, over 50 people have had to be rescued from their homes today. And here's why. The whole road of downtown Newport completely underwater. You see small businesses, homes over here.
Record warm ocean temperatures in the Gulf allowed Helene to rapidly intensify on her approach to the coast, where she made landfall as a Category 4 hurricane.
Defying the odds, it's something Seven has done since the day he got here, and now he's an internet icon.
We're still decreasing meds on. The Knoxville Fire Department is responding to a fire that you can still see behind me a little bit. That smoke is still bellowing.
We break down why your vote matters. We also have a live interview with Knoxville Mayor Indian Kincannon with advice for first-time voters.
Where the lines are already looking great. One thing I've noticed, a lot of young voters already here lining up. Tailgate time, here we go.
Hey, go Vols!
What do you think about the Buckeyes tonight?
They're gonna lose. We're gonna win. I think it's over for them.
You know, something like that to denote that it's not working that day, and I had to miss a class because I couldn't access the second floor.
Celebrating women across campus, we are live from the Scripps Lab today at the College of Communication here in the University of Tennessee.
To be one of the only women on press row, but one of the things that has been so empowering and exciting is to see so many more women covering this.
Brandon's story didn't start as a regional overdose specialist. In 2018, right behind me is where he called home.
Multiple wildfires were burning here in the mountains behind me. One home has been confirmed as lost and a couple others were damaged.
I'm actually glad that the Democrats pulled out every stop they possibly could. So I'm sure if I ask this question, the answer will be no.
Red and white confetti is covering Lucas Oil Stadium tonight as the Tennessee Volunteers suffer a heartbreaking loss in the Elite Eight.
Student government election results were revealed at the Torchbearer last night with a total of 5,083 votes counted.
Terrifying scene there with the blaring tornado sirens and lightning. We also see a possible wall cloud there indicating the beginning of tornado formation.
When are we gonna really see it and really start feeling that impact?
So when the store starts running out of their inventory bananas, they're gonna have to order more from Honduras.
Just in, we're following reports of a reversal from the Trump administration.
That line, that is insane.
The crowds have not stopped, and that's not an easy room to fill, too. That's a big space, and that just speaks to who Pope Francis was as a person.
They were the only news correspondence team to speak extensively with Pope Francis.
To stay up to date on news from the Vatican, you can follow us on Instagram at TVC News Now.
As we finish this chapter with the end of the school year, the memories remain and the future looks bright. Congrats to the class of 2025 and everyone who made this school year a record for the books. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Maggie. Now, this one's special for us. Gray has been the leader of TVC all year and has taken us to be able to do everything that you just saw in that story. And now we get to highlight who she is. Let's take a look.
I had a lot of big plans, and we have exceeded all of them, which is really, really exciting.
When Gray started as the executive producer, she was new to the program with high expectations.
My idea for the volunteer channel was to just get it as good as it can be. And genuinely, looking back, we are much better than I could have ever thought that we were at.
Leading a team day in and day out with a heart of gratitude.
I know that everyone is putting in just as much as I'm putting in, and that is just so exciting.
Always willing to pick up the phone late at night, stay back to chat, she's been the glue of our newsroom.
Any issues that reporters have, any leadership questions, I'm here to answer. Basically, I am the question answerer.
Because of her positive and encouraging nature, she will forever leave a legacy not only in our newsroom, but in the hearts of her team.
My legacy is the fact that we are where we're at and the fact that we are moving forward. And I'll be honest, I could not ask for a better legacy than that.
I'll start us off. Thank you, Gray.
Thank you, Gray.
Thank you, Gray. Thank you, Gray.
Thank you, Gray.
Thank you, Gray.
Thanks for everything, Gray.
Gray, for all you do, your future is very bright.
Thank you, Gray.
Thank you so much, Gray, for everything you've done throughout your time here at UT. We're definitely going to miss you next year.
Thank you, Gray. Can't wait to see all the amazing things you accomplish in life.
Thank you, Gray.
Hey, Gray McNichol! It's the L-Man, Luke Lamry, giving you a big congratulations on your last show. We are ever so proud of you, and in all seriousness, from the bottom of my heart, it is truly amazing to see the work that you've done, being a kind, warm, and caring producer while also leading this massive crew. It's a craft that you have truly mastered. So, I mean, just off that alone, again, with your character, you're going to do amazing, amazing things in the future. And we are just so proud of you. So may God bless you in your future endeavors, and a big congratulations. And we're going to miss you a lot. So, all right. Thanks. It's Luke here. Bye-bye.
And that, Sally, marks the end of our show for today. You won't catch us live in the studio again this semester, but we will be back next semester.
That's right. And again, a huge thank you to our wonderful Gray McNichol. We're going to let you go so you can go direct the end of our show because she's so wonderful. Again, major thank you. We're so proud of what TVC has been able to accomplish in just a year, really. I mean, it's been really, really exciting. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at TVC News Now, where we will continue to update you over all of summer break. We've got people all over the country this summer, so we're really excited to share all of that content that they will be doing and continuing to inform our entire campus community. Is everybody ready to say it with me? Yeah. All right. 1, 2, 3. Go!